Hello to everyone living in cozy apartments and cottages. You might think that this is the only way a person can live, walking to shops on the streets and driving to work in a car. However, this is far from the case. You're on the Top Facts channel, and today we'll show you the alternative lifestyles chosen by people who don't want to blend in with society. Some survive in the coldest places on Earth, some find under bridges quite comfortable, and others merge into the sewer? Sit back and enjoy the video. Welcome to Yanjin, officially the narrowest city in the world. It's nestled between the embrace of the Tibetan foothills and the stretches along the banks of a river. Though the feeling of parallel universes never leaves you, everything is so strange here. The city's maximum width is 1,312 feet, and the narrowest place is just 98 feet wide. That's 2 basketball courts. How do nearly 500,000 people fit on this patch of land? The thing is, the narrowest city streets stretch out for over 37 miles, which means to drive through it at a decent speed, it would take your car an hour. This house in California stands out not only for its cool futuristic vibe, but also it is literally located in a volcano. Where the building now stands, lava used to flow, and today you can relax on the observation deck and imagine yourself as an astronaut on another planet, where there's no life, but you can breathe freely. If northern Portugal attracts you, look at the kind of housing you can find here. This house plays hide and seek with us. It's camouflaged inside a rock. We don't know who or why it's fit between 4 giant boulders, but the atmosphere inside is unique as well. There's standard furniture, but a concrete sofa would be much more interesting. Imagine your day starting with this breathtaking view. Just the view from a house in the mountains of Italy. This house is located at almost 6,560 feet, and in addition, it's completely alone there. You can only get here by cable car or by a winding mountain trail, but there are no neighbors, no traffic noise, and no loud music. Could you spend a week or two here? Another entity that feels great in solitude, and additionally, it stands on an island. This hunting lodge in Ireland is situated on a fjord. Only a caretaker lives nearby, and there's one workshop. For introverts, a better hotel could not be found. High in the Peruvian Andes, there's a famous place. The city named Larongar is simply exceptional for its adversity. Firstly, it's located at 16,404 feet above sea level, making it the highest settlement on the planet. But the positives end there. People up here constantly experience lack of oxygen. Crimes based on alcohol are a daily routine, and the poverty level is simply off the charts. And yet the city's population of 30,000 people is constantly growing. Are you curious why people continue to live in such conditions? Here's the answer. Everyone here is searching for happiness in the gold mines. People hope to escape poverty. For years, they dance to the tune of local companies and suffer the utterly harsh working conditions. Sentineldos bodegas in Andalusia is arguably the most unusual Spanish town. It's literally embedded in the rock. Somewhere a huge boulder has become the wall of a house, and on some streets, it even replaces the ceiling. Buildings are integrated into the steep rocky massif, which saves residents from the relentless heat. Surely it's even cool there at night, and such a roof will protect from winds and storms. The townspeople have settled in well, and the flow of tourists here does not decrease. Considering that in 800 years of existence, not a single building has collapsed. An excellent investment in labor. Amedi is a charming ancient town in Dahuk, province of Iraq. It lies at an altitude of 4,598 feet, and its architecture was planned before our era, when this region was a melting pot of different peoples and civilizations. Amedi is on the UNESCO World Heritage List, and currently about 11,000 people live here beautifully. The city fortress in Shabam in Yemen is often called the Manhattan of the desert. The unique ancient construction plan has been preserved to this day. The city boasts towers made of sun-dried mud bricks, which soar up to 98 feet high, and blocked the horizon. Since the 16th century, the fort, surrounded by a defensive wall with a narrowing winding street, was strategically designed to protect residents from invasions and floods, to save from the scorching sun, and for efficient air circulation. Sun-dried brick helps regulate the temperature inside the dwellings. Even if the tower houses rise to 11 stories, their walls are coated with mud and straw on the outside. The architectural appearance of the city is beautiful, despite being primarily designed for survival in extreme conditions. In 1982, Shabam was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it continues to enchant tourists with its resilience and its grandeur of its buildings. The city of Guadix in Spanish Granada is famous for people still living in caves. True, they're very comfortable and beautiful, but the essence remains the same. You can find them in the city by the white chimneys and the television antennas sticking out of the hills. The happy owners of the cave apartments are called troglodytes, which translates from Greek as living in caves, and they founded their colony in the 8th century, gradually building up 2,000 cave dwellings. So there's nothing offensive about the nickname. And the homes inside the caves are indeed wonderfully arranged, clean and cozy. Plus, they can maintain a comfortable cool temperature all year round, from 64 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. No need for air conditioning, and the sound insulation is excellent. If you want to visit the city, head to the tourist area of Barrio Santiago. There are plenty of cave hotels, and once a year, the community hosts a festival. Favela literally means slums. Homes are piled on top of each other, shots are fired often, the police rarely look in, but everyone admires the breathtaking ocean view. Yes, this is Rio de Janeiro, and although you can walk around in white trousers, before us is the infamous settlement, the most criminal territory of the city. This Chinese village is located on the top of a cliff at an altitude of 2,624 feet. It's gained popularity as a tourist attraction precisely because of its inaccessibility. You might wonder who would want to overcome thousands of vertical steps just to get a glimpse of the impoverished life of the local inhabitants. Moreover, you would have to move along unreliably disheveled ladders. In 2016, thanks to significant government investments, the project truly strengthened. The ladders were replaced with sturdy steel ladders. This, of course, made life on the cliff safer, but despite the improvements, the way home for residents still consists of 2,565 steps over almost 1.86 miles. The modernized labor, costing almost $150,000, not only improved the lives of local residents, but also significantly increased the load. And now there's bustling traffic of tourists with selfie sticks. Katsky Pillar in Georgia is a limestone monolith, on top of which, at a height of 131 feet, there's a small church. It has been known since the 9th century from the records of Prince Vakushti Bagration. Monk Maxim settled here as a hermit. Initially, in the 1990s, one had to climb up a dangerous rope ladder to reach the top. Now it's been replaced with a metal one. Along the premises, there's a small cell, a chapel, a crypt, and a modest wine cellar. However, there are no basic amenities, like running or drinking water. One must go down for it. Nevertheless, the monk grew a small garden and contributed to the restoration of the church and other buildings. Now it's a well-known site of Georgia's religious history. Zhuangkong is a renowned temple complex in China, literally hanging on the edge of a cliff at a height of more than 230 feet. All its stairs and buildings are carved into the rock. It was built in the 5th century AD and had since been a home for monks. Despite gaining the status of the most dangerous building in the world in 2010, the temple attracts crowds of tourists. They flock here as fanatics because this is the only temple that unites 3 denominations: Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. Would you dare to climb a construction that is 1,500 years old? This place emits a unique, fantastical atmosphere. Welcome to Larongar, an impressive city located in eastern Tibet at an altitude of nearly 13,123 feet. This extensive complex, founded in 1980, has turned into the largest Buddhist academy in the world. Imagine, it houses 10,000 monks, nuns, and novices. From these compact houses, stacked like dominoes on the mountain slopes, all clerics ascend daily for education and spiritual practices, only to return home at dusk. Even with the apparent density, this settlement looks very harmonious. The Chinese call this rock the Golden Peak of the Red Cloud. If you go to the Sichuan province in China, the most popular pilgrimage site here is the Xingqiu Temple. You will have to overcome more than 26,247 steps to see this wonder of the world. A unique natural formation, a rocky peak split in two, has been holding two small Buddhist temples at its top for more than 500 years. They are connected in the sky by a hanging bridge. The mystery of this place lies not only in the architectural wonder, but also how the ancient Buddhist builders deliver construction materials here, along the sheer vertical cliff. Moreover, strong winds rage at such altitudes, yet the buildings still stand. The temple at the top of the rock attracts drone enthusiasts. Indeed, the views around are breathtaking, despite the gusty wind. So if you don't wish to climb to the top, you can come here with your drone, or just watch this video really carefully. In Greece, near the city of Kalimbaka, at heights over 1,000 feet above sea level, you'll find a uniquely beautiful place, the Meteora Monasteries. Already in the 10th century, the first hermits climbed this daunting peak, and over the following centuries, built 24 monasteries here. Only 6 of them remain active, while the others have turned into picturesque ruins. The active sites become pilgrimage spots and appear in movie scenes, like the Holy Trinity Monastery, where only one monk resides. The monastery was featured in a James Bond movie. Not far from the city of Lagos in Nigeria, which opens onto the southern part of the Atlantic coast, there's a unique area leading to an unconventional way of life. A tiny fishing village has turned into Makoko, the largest floating slum. Ironically, it's called the African Venice. Perhaps, except for the absence of bridges, there is nothing in common between them. Poverty and mortality rates here are alarmingly high. Since the government has not officially recognized the settlement, these people are not quite citizens. They are not entitled to education, medical care, or even drinking water from the state. Not to mention the waste is dumped into the ocean. Various international foundations are fighting to improve life in Makoko, hoping their efforts will be crowned with success. Genv, an African village on Lake Nakua, the largest water settlement in West Africa, whose history began in the 18th century. Now, 40,000 people live here, and this place definitely resembles an African Venice more. There are water pumps, drinking water, an abundance of fish, and all this life makes it much more attractive. The main issue for the city is electricity. There is none here, except for some wealthy individuals who have acquired generators and solar panels. The floating village of Chong Nis is located on the scenic Lake Tonle Sap in Cambodia and is a well-known tourist attraction. Southeast Asia's largest freshwater lake is very rich in fish. There are about 200 different species here. Isn't that the perfect environment? The unique settlement has about 1,000 families. They live in houseboats and cope well with both daily life and tourist interest. Although fundamental problems such as sewage and drinking water are resolved at a community level, for years, people have been living in balance with the local ecosystem. A rare harmonious coexistence of human society and nature, yet absolutely real. It may seem unconventional to us, but again, only to us. Castro is the capital of the Chilean province of Chile, and a characteristic feature of this coast is the palafitos, houses raised high on stilts along the shore. These elevated dwellings are connected by pedestrian paths and bridges, and such a construction not only helps to park the boats at home, but also to withstand sharp tides. Thus, residents have been reaching their homes since the 19th century, when the archipelago was a bustling maritime center. Now every fisherman has a car. but the palafitos remain an integral part of Castro's cultural heritage. Many of them are transformed into boutique hotels, guest houses, and restaurants. Cozy mini palaces with wood stoves. Tourists adore these houses, and if you would want to experience the feeling of safety on the water, come and stay here. Manila, the noisy capital of the Philippines. Under the bridge wrapper of tourist areas hides a harsh reality. In the very heart of the city, under the bridge, there's a district of terrible slums. People live there where it seems impossible just to be. Even judging by this video, it's hard to imagine the living conditions of this community. How can one live under a bridge for so many years, create families and raise children if transport constantly rumbles overhead? The screech of metal structures is heard, but there's no escape from the heat. Lake Titicaca is located at an altitude of almost 13,123 feet above sea level, and people live here too. The Uros, indigenous people, whose name is given to the floating village. It consists of 100 platforms that move freely around the lake. The technology is as old as it is native. Layers of reeds are laid in layers and tied with ropes on eucalyptus poles. Such a structure withstands the weight of a hut, serving for a very long time. You may smile, but along with the archaic and isolated way of life, people here enjoy every convenience. They have small household appliances, a medical center, and a school, which is on a separate platform. In the heat of the desert in the southwest of Peru lies the town of Huacachina, and it's called the American Oasis. This place is like a fairy tale. The lake in the sands, the huge palms, beautiful houses, and cheerful residents, in whom there are only 100 people, not counting the tens of thousands of visitors each year. Do you think the Oasis community lives harmoniously? I bet many of you dream of having a cozy little house in a quiet place by the river. Look, there's one now. True, it's right on the river. This cabin in Siberia, perched on a rock since the late 60s as a retreat for fishermen and vacationers, and since then, the river has swept it away a whole 7 times. However, the persistent owners each time rebuild the structure and reinforce it even stronger. Santa Cruz is an island in the Caribbean Sea, but essentially, it was artificially created. On the compact territory of about 107,000 square feet, about 600 people live. This is one of the most densely populated areas in the world. Moreover, all residents are interconnected by some familial ties. There are no non-indigenous people here. About 100 homes for 600 residents means, on average, families of 6 people live under one roof. And there are, incidentally, only 6 surnames in this community. About a century ago, fishermen began to place their homes on a coral platform and settled in the middle of the ocean to gain freedom and escape from mosquitoes. Such is the legend of the settlement. And it got its name in honor of the white cross on the small Santa Cruz square, which means Holy Cross. There's a church, a school, stores, and the only restaurant. Houses are painted in joyful colors: lettuce green, banana yellow, and sky blue. Children play in the streets, and adults share homemade food and dance to local music. You'd exclaim, "I wish I lived there." And that is all the strangest homes we've been able to find for you. Write to us below your comments or thoughts. Did you think that some people could survive anywhere, or did some videos shock you? Thank you for watching, and check out our previous top issues that have already appeared on your screen.